So if you have a cross right now, if you're on that cross right now, you feel that cross in your life, God is trying to bring a resurrection into your life. Welcome back to episode 125 of the What's the Dill podcast. I'm your host, Dill, and this is the place where we answer the most viral questions about Catholic life. Thank you all for tuning in, for watching, listening, however you are consuming this. I appreciate you. And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, send in a question, tell me your thoughts. Let's have a conversation. I'm open to hearing what you guys think about this Catholic life. So reach out to me. I love when you guys to reach out. And would love to hear from you on anything going through your mind. We got a good episode for today. We're going to continue on the trend of doing a question and episode, dive a little deeper, see how that goes. We got a good one today. We're going to talk about suffering. We're going to talk about anger. We're going to talk about why do these bad things happen. It's a really good question. So I think we can all relate to that. I know I relate to that. This problem of suffering, this problem of evil in the world. So we're going to get into it. Make sure that you share this with someone who you think might relate to this episode. Okay, here we go. This is the question. I'm angry and I'm mad at God for taking away my father and making me have to grow up without him. It doesn't make any sense because I've prayed and prayed and prayed. Now I'm starting to lose faith. And no matter how much I ask God why this happens, I get into this place every single year. People tell me it happens for a reason, but what reason? How does this make me grow as a person? How does this make my life any better? Why did God make this happen to me? Is it wrong that I'm so mad at him? Okay, so really good, tough question. Painful, terrible suffering happens to us. Why does it happen? Why does God let it happen? The problem of evil, the problem of suffering. Well, before we kind of get into some of this conversation, first and foremost, we have to say, I'm sorry that we have to acknowledge the pain and frustration of losing a loved one, losing a father like this. This is a wound, this is a pain that goes very, very deep. And we have to acknowledge that it hurts, that it's painful, that it stinks. Let's look to the Bible and see that there's so many places in it where people are just absolutely getting crushed by the circumstances of their life. Job or the Psalms. Or we even remember Jesus, when he heard the news that his friend Lazarus died, wept. Not sniffles. The verse isn't Jesus sniffled and tried to hide it from his friends that he was crying a little bit. No, it said Jesus wept. So, in our Christian faith, in the Bible, all over it are these moments of feeling deeply, feeling pain, feeling absolutely gutted by the circumstances of our life. So, it's okay to feel these things. It's not bad to feel these things. It's not bad to express your hurt, your confusion, and even your anger of why things are happening to you. And if we look at the Psalms, we can see that a lot of times, even since anger can be pointed to God, of asking these questions. God, why is this happening to me? So, God does welcome the emotions and he welcomes the questions because he wants us to be led through with him. God wants to lead us through the pain and the suffering. So he's okay when we're authentically upset and frustrated and just wounded because he wants to be there with us. So, yeah, it's okay that you're feeling this. It's okay that you're angry. It's okay that you're mad. It's okay that you're not making any sense of what's going on in your life. Losing a father, that's absolutely terrible. That's terrible, terrible, terrible. So many questions. Everyone would have questions of why this would happen to you. So acknowledge your pain, express your hurt, bring it to God. Don't hide from God that you're feeling these things because he's ready for them. He's ready for your feelings. He's ready for your pain. He's ready for your suffering. He's ready to lead you through them. So then there's the mystery of suffering. Let's address some of the why. Why did these things happen? Why does God let them happen? I would say the biggest and the number one emotional argument there is against God and God's loving goodness for us and loving kindness for us is this problem of suffering, this problem of evil in the world. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do these bad things happen in the world? How could God allow so much pain? How could God allow me to feel so much pain and suffering? It doesn't feel like God is loving when I'm going through an absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible thing in my life, a terrible event, a terrible moment, a terrible season, a terrible circumstance, terrible big people in my life. We know that we know how much pain there is in life. And then we're often left to question, God, why do you allow this to happen? It resonates with all of us at some point in our lives. At some point in our lives, everyone has sat and asked God, why did you let this happen to me? Why did you let this happen to my friend? Why did you let this happen to my parents, siblings, someone I love? Why did you let this happen? We can't see any good that can come from this. I can't see why this would ever be good. I can't see why this would ever be something you would let happen. Okay, maybe there's, some sort of, good that's going to come, but I can't see it. We all have that moment. We all have those moments, those seasons of asking ourselves, God, why have you forsaken me? Even Jesus, let's go back into the Bible. Even Jesus said at some of his last words were, my God, why have you forsaken me? Now, does this make it easier to bear? Does it make it easier to bear that we all feel this? No. But we have to know, and look at that example of Jesus on the cross. As Jesus deeply understanding that we feel the pain, that we have deep feelings, that he knows and has experienced, just like us, pain and suffering and feeling abandoned by God. So, that's why one thing we need to do is to bring all these things to Jesus. We need to bring all of our pain and our suffering to Jesus. And they don't need to be packaged pretty. They don't need to have an understanding. Doesn't need to have a marketing plan associated with it. It could just be the dirty feelings, the rotten things we're thinking and feeling. And saying, Jesus, I'm feeling abandoned. I'm suffering. I'm at a loss. I don't even know why or what or who. I can't make sense of any of this. Jesus knows what you're feeling because he's walked that road before. So you're bringing it to a guy who literally understands everything that you're going through. When you're saying, I have the most painful thing that's happened to me, Jesus literally went through that as a human. So you're bringing it to someone who understands. So let's not lose hope that Jesus understands the emotional pain and the physical pain, but understands the depths of suffering as humans. Jesus understands it. So how can this make us grow? Why does this make us grow? That feels unsatisfying. Well, it's not when suffering happens, when terrible things happen to us, it's not that Jesus is doing that to us on purpose so we can grow. It's that God meets us at our lowest points to help lead us through it and help us grow in spite of the suffering. So it's not like when something tragic happens or something bad happens, your plans in your life get upended, you lose your job, you lose a family member, all your money's gone, you have no one left in your life. God's not doing those things to you on purpose as a punishment to help you then grow. God's saying, hey, I'm meeting you there. I want to bring you through this and not send you down a spiraling path of depression, anxiety, anger, frustration for the rest of your life. I actually want to help bring you through. So he meets us there. And God always meets us there to draw good out of the darkest places. So God doesn't cause us pain, but he meets us in our pain to draw good out of the darkest places and darkest times of our life. And it is a kind and merciful God. So we don't want to... So a lot of times we blame God for the bad things in our life, and we're blaming the one person who can help us make sense a little bit out of this pain and this suffering. Suffering can be redemptive, and that's really, really hard to even, and that's totally antithetical to our culture. Our culture is all about pleasure-seeking, serving me. What can serve me? I'm trying to avoid pain at all costs. And our Catholic Church believes that actually through our suffering, which is going to happen, regardless of how good, bad, rich, poor, smart, dumb you are, suffering is going to happen, and God is going to use that suffering to draw good out of it, even in the worst suffering imaginable. Even in the worst suffering imaginable. So, where do we see that? Well, we see that, again, at the cross, at the death and resurrection of Jesus. So you have Jesus, who's this innocent man who takes on our sin, who dies, and, in the minds of the apostles, they're like, wow, we just literally follow a guy who's now dead. And, wow, okay, it's over. We're all scared. Like, that's it. We misjudged this one. But in the resurrection, it's that not only did the apostles, follow follow God and follow the King and follow our guy, but in that resurrection, we all, for every generation after and every generation forward, get new life. So salvation came from that death. What we say is the worst thing in life as humans is death, dying, death, disease. Jesus took to transform into new life for us. So again, God can actually bring resurrection out of your pain. It's part of his nature. He's done it before. God can bring a resurrection out of your pain. It might not feel that way right now. It might not feel that way when you're going through it. And it might not feel like God can ever make you feel better when you're feeling terrible. But if you look at who God is, and if you look at the proof in the Bible, and you look at people who've come before you, God is always trying to bring a resurrection out of your pain. We have to have the humility to kind of meet him there, to say, all right, Lord, I'm angry, I'm upset, I don't even know, all I can do is just be angry and upset, but I'm just giving it to you. I'm giving you all my anger, my frustration, my pain, and I'm just saying, here it is. Sometimes all we can do is say, I'm a ball of frustration, Lord. Please help me find the good in this. So that can be kind of, how it can make us grow. So why does it happen though? Can we kind of answer that question of why? Well, why? Why do these bad things happen? Why do bad things happen to me? Why do bad things happen to these good people? I see bad people all the time surviving and thriving. Why do bad things happen to me? So first and foremost, we never can truly know God's full plan. And we don't know why these things happen to us. Now, it's not super satisfying. That's not the greatest, most satisfying answer. We don't fully and truly know. But St. Teresa of Avila has a great line when it comes... she has a great line. So remember, St. Teresa of Avila, she's a mystic, doctor of the church. She has this great line where she's talking to God, where she's talking about suffering in her life, and she says to God, if this is how you treat your friends, no wonder you have so few. So even the saints struggled. Even the saints got angry. Even the doctors of the church got angry with the pain in their life. But what they understood, what St. Teresa of Avila understood, and what we can take comfort in, is that God wants an authentic, personal relationship with us. And a relationship where we can express those things. So God deeply wants us actually to express those things to him. Because he then can be God to us and help bring us through them. But but God wants that authentic expression to him. He wants an authentic relationship with him. So if you're angry, express it to him. God is big enough to take it. He can handle it. Don't turn away from him. Talk to him. If you're upset, if you're depressed, bring it to him. Talk to him about it. Tell him what you're feeling. Don't just say that God hates you, because God wants to love you in those moments. And God always consoles those who are in deep pain. He's always going to console those who are deep. And again, it may not feel like it, but he's going to console you. And when he does, and when God kind of brings you through the suffering of your life and the pain, and when you can give over your pain to God and he can bring you through those moments, and he can be God to you, and you start to see some of the good that can come out of it, start to say, oh, whoa, hold on a second. God actually does have a plan here. There actually is some good that can come from these painful things. So I can be better prepared for the more painful things happening in the future. And I can share this with people who, are going through tough times. So we don't always know why these things happen. And we all feel them. But we can trust that we can express all of our deepest feelings to God in a relationship that he wants from us. He's going to bring good. We know that. It's going to be hard. We know that. You can express all of those feelings along the way with God. That's what he wants most, because he wants a relationship with you. So hold on to your faith. Don't lose your faith. It's a very, very, very common experience to start to doubt and lose your faith when you go through painful, wounding, hard times. Very, very, very common. It's tempting to want to walk away from God. It's tempting when you feel like he's not answering your prayers. It's tempting when you're yelling up at the sky and you're not hearing anything back. But faith doesn't always mean it's about feeling good. God doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. Now, not following God also doesn't mean that life is perfect. Because life is not perfect. There's going to be pain in life. There's going to be suffering. Whether you believe in God or not, whether you follow God or not, there's going to be suffering. For all those that say, why are these bad things happening? There must not be a God. I ask, well, why do these things happen if there isn't a God? So if there isn't a God, then why are these things still happening? There's going to be pain in life. But God is still with you even when you're feeling abandoned. He's got a plan for your life. He has a plan for your pain. He has a plan for your suffering. And there's going to be good that comes out of it. And God's proven that in the Bible. He's proven that in our salvation history. And he's proven it in people in your own life. Ask someone who's suffering. If you're suffering right now, find someone to talk to who's also suffered and just ask them how they made it through. Ask someone who's going through a similar thing than you. Don't just hold it in. Don't just feel like you're the only one. Talk to someone. And I promise you that the faithful person will see some good that came out of the suffering in their life. Nothing can erase losing your father. Nothing can erase pain in your life. Nothing can erase the pain from suffering and the misery that we can feel in our lives. Nothing can stop that pain. But the evil one wants us to feel alone and isolated in our deepest, darkest thoughts and whisper into our ears that no one loves us, we're alone, this is all not worth it, none of it makes sense, you're completely alone, it's never going to get better. But God wants to say, hey, I've been there before. Jesus on the cross, I've been there before. I'm with you every single step of this way. You have to give over your suffering to me. I'm going to bring good from it. But you have to hand it over. You have to trust in God. And that's why I just say, talk honestly to me. Lean on him. Be honest. Express your frustration. Tell him about your anger. He's going to meet you there time after time after time again. And I know in my own life that it's those times that have been really, really painful when I've tried to fix it myself or suppress it and shove it down and say, hey, I guess that, I'm just getting punished for, wrong things in my life and I just feel this pain. I'm not going to give it to God because he could never help me from this. Has never really has never resolved anything. But when I've trusted in God and leaned on God in the hard, dark, and deep times of my life, and when God has brought good to those moments, when I've seen God actually love on me when it's been really hard, and where he's kind of able to give to me 10, 100 times over what I can give to him. So remember, the resurrection always follows the cross. So the beauty of our Catholic faith is that it's not just about the cross. The cross is the symbol, the cross is the moment, but what makes the cross so powerful is that the resurrection follows after. So if you have a cross right now, if you're on that cross right now, you feel that cross in your life, God is trying to bring a resurrection into your life. He's trying to give you and bring to you a resurrection from that cross. And I don't know what it is. Like, don't trust me. Don't just trust my words. Bring it to God. Ask God. And I promise you that he's going to show you that he loves you even in the deepest, darkest times. God can bring new life from even death. So that's our God. He's trying to meet us in our deepest, darkest times. That's why I think how we can try to make sense of these painful things in our lives. So that's going to be it for me today, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got something from this. Let me know what you think about suffering, pain, problem, evil. I'd love to hear your thoughts, how you deal with suffering, how you try to bring good out of suffering in your life. Yeah, of course, I'd love to hear from you. Email, text, DM, whatever. Let me hear from you. Thank you so much, y'all, for watching, listening, checking in. I appreciate you all so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with someone who you think would enjoy it. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. Bye.